Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Sunday night, the Clemson Tiger commitment sweatshirt comes back on. Four-star safety Blake Stewart committing to Clemson. Now, where do you want to start with this commitment? I would start with this. Hey, he has a mid four-star grade according to the industry composite ranking. You follow this kid's recruitment over the last couple of months, it becomes pretty clear that other Power Four programs across the country valued this kid a little bit more than just a mid-range four-star. And what I mean by that is, hey, I'm a Michigan fan. I know for a fact, like Michigan pushed really hard for Blake Stewart. I know the Miami Hurricanes pushed really hard for Blake Stewart. This is one of the cleaner safety prospects that you'll see in the 2026 cycle. You turn on the film and say, hey, he does a lot of things at a very high level. He's not necessarily going to be a guy that walks into a room and makes your jaw drop, although the athletic profile, pretty damn nice. 6 foot, buck 75, 11-1 in the 100-meter dash, nice size, nice long speed. But I think the thing you love most about this player is what he puts on the football field. Very instinctual defensive back that you can ask to do a lot of different things. When you look at Blake Stewart, hey, he can play a single high look, two high look, come up in the box and fit the run. You see him play a decent amount of cornerback as well. So the man coverage ability is going to be there for Blake Stewart as well, especially in the Tom Allen defense, where we're going to be asking our safeties to do a lot of different things, whether it's come into the box and support the run, whether it's drop down and play man coverage. You got to have safeties that are well-rounded, that can do a lot. And I think Blake Stewart, one of those safeties in the 2026 cycle. Excited to get into Blake Stewart, but I'm also excited to talk about, hey, what's left for Clemson in the 2026 cycle where, hey, they got a class that I know Dabo Swinney really likes. Some of the bigger names on Clemson's board still out there and Dabo Swinney's working on. Before we get into it, as always, to the Clemson fans, appreciate you guys. And it's been a really fun summer for this program on the recruiting trail. The amount of support y'all have shown the boys been amazing. Appreciate you guys. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Kind of wrapping up the recruiting months, ushering into some very intriguing fall camp storylines for Clemson. Without further ado, let's get into Blake Stewart. And it's kind of a combination of boxes checked for Blake Stewart. You look at the athletic profile, plays hoops, plays baseball, runs track and field. The athlete Blake Stewart is certainly good enough to play at a high level for Clemson. Then you look at the football player. The first thing you look at, two-way production. This is a guy, 80 tackles, 8 pass breakups, 2 interceptions, gets it done on the defensive side of the football. Also caught for over 400 yards. And I'll say this, ball skills are there for Blake Stewart. And that's something that a lot of young defensive backs really struggle with when they get to the collegiate ranks, especially those defensive backs that only have experience on the defensive side of the football. Hey, when that football is in the air, you might be able to run with the pass catcher, but when it's time to go up, find the football, and go make a play on the ball, a lot of young defensive backs at the collegiate ranks really struggle. When you have these cats that are two-way guys that have experience playing wide receiver as well, those ball skills tend to be a little bit more developed as they get to campus. Last thing I'll say here, I trust Dabo Swinney and this coaching staff when it comes to young players in the secondary. And I take myself back to a guy like Ashton Hampton. We broke down the commitment of Ashton Hampton committing to Clemson. I got up here, I got my face saying, hey, I think he's a good football player, probably going to take 2 to 3 years before he's ready. Ashton Hampton steps on the football field year one, kind of emerges as one of the better defensive backs in the ACC. You've seen Clemson routinely do this with members of the secondary. Their ability to identify football players that not only are going to be good, but can come in and be good early for this program. It's almost uncanny. And I don't know, outside of maybe Notre Dame, who does a good job of it too, not many programs in the country do a better job of evaluating guys, not only for what they will be as football players, but what they currently are, because these kids step on campus, they play a lot of football for Clemson. Second part of this conversation, where to now? Like, hey, what's left for Clemson in the 2026 cycle? Look, I think it's 2 names, most notably one name, Tyler Atkinson. It has I've said this a lot, and I'll say it real quick once again. The narrative around Tyler Atkinson is he ain't leaving the state of Georgia. That was the same narrative that we saw with Sammy Brown as well. Hey, ain't no way Sammy Brown's leaving Georgia. He gonna end up in Athens. Clemson goes in and gets it done for Sammy Brown. And I think Tyler Atkinson seeing the success that Sammy Brown is having at Clemson, I think is a huge recruiting tool for Clemson as well, saying, hey, we just went down in the state of Georgia a couple of years ago, grabbed a 5-star linebacker. He came in as, I think, going to be one of the best backers in the country this year. That can be you as well if you come to Clemson. The second thing here is it's very clear that Clemson is a player for Tyler Atkinson, because if they weren't, they'd be recruiting some other linebackers in the 2026 cycle. It is very telling that Tyler Atkinson is really the only linebacker currently on the board for Clemson. They are, and we very rarely see Dabo Swinney do this, they're pushing their chips into the middle of the table for a kid like Tyler Atkinson. I firmly believe that although the buzz is around Georgia, is around a team like Oregon, Texas is going to be a contender too. Sneaky think Clemson still has a very, very good chance for Tyler Atkinson. Now, the other notable storyline that we just found out today, Darius Gray. And Clemson's a top 5 in that recruitment as well. Now, is Clemson going to be a serious player for Darius Gray? That's probably to be determined. I think there are some other programs that are ahead of Clemson right now, but I think it's notable that you see Clemson's logo in that top 5. Now, Clemson's already got 6 offensive linemen committed in the 2026 cycle. Is there a massive need for Darius Gray? No. He is not one of those players you say no to. And I look at Darius Gray and you pair him up with a guy like Chancellor Barkley and Grant Wise at center, that is a dominant interior offensive line battery that could be for Clemson. And look, Matt Luke's been, for lack of better terms, Matt Luke's been taking what he wants on the recruiting trail. We'll see if Clemson can be a player for Darius Gray as well. It's been a really successful summer for Clemson on the trail. Have there been some tough losses? Yes, absolutely. But if you're a Clemson fan and you see Dabo Swinney sitting there with one of the better classes in the country, you feel pretty good because Clemson's hit rate on these kids, it's just higher than other Power 4 programs across the country. We'll see how it turns out for Clemson with the last 2 names on their board. You'll probably see Clemson lean into some senior year evaluations as well, potentially flip a guy like Bryce Perry, right, where it was Clemson all the way for Bryce Perry, right, until Texas came in late, or Texas A&M, that is, came in late. We'll see if Clemson can stay in that one as well, especially with the success that I expect Clemson to have on the football field and the amount of NFL draft talent that I expect to come out from this program this year. Last year, we saw Clemson have a lot of attrition late in the process. I think that could be a little reverse this year. I think you could see Clemson maybe build some momentum on the recruiting trail late in the process due to the success I think this football team can have on the field. We'll close it out there. Blake Stewart, damn good football player. Look, do I think Blake Stewart's going to be a top 10 NFL draft pick? No, probably not. Do I think he's going to be a multi-year contributor for Clemson? Yeah, dang right I do. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. We'll talk to y'all later.